Hey everybody, welcome back. It is Mike Brown here with Remax in Toronto, back from vacation and a little unshaven, at least at this point. What's been happening since last episode? Well, the Bank of Canada had a meeting just before, I guess, my last episode, where they decided to leave the policy rate unchanged at 2.75%, citing uncertainty in the economy, job losses, and the effect of tariffs.
Enough already.
Which is kind of a repeated story that we're hearing over and over again. So no change for you with variable rate mortgages or home equity lines of credit. As far as fixed rate mortgage rates, they are kind of on the incline or increase right now. There's been some upward pressure in the bond markets of late, but more or less we're hovering around 4%, depending on how many years you're looking for. Not bad, not great. Hopefully those rates will continue to come down towards the end of this year, but it's kind of uncertain at this point. The Toronto Real Estate Board reported that the number of sales in July exceeded the number of sales from July of 2024. So I guess that signals that the real estate market is about to turn around.
Come again.
Not really. I don't think so. If you follow along with this channel, you know I have this acronym called ADLIVS, Average Daily Listing Inventory versus Sales. And that number actually decreased from June to July. So what's that all about? Well, it's pretty simple. There's just so many properties for sale versus the number of buyers who want to buy them. So clearly, that's a pretty good metric to follow if you're a buyer or a seller. And until that starts to reverse, I don't really see this market turning around. So don't be misled by specific bits of information related to what's happening with the market, like the number of sales, or the average sale price, or the median sale price. Benchmark, ADLIVS, that's what I believe gives you a real insight into what's happening with the marketplace. Another bit of news that kind of signals how slow it's been and how difficult it is to be a realtor these days. A company by the name of iPro Real Estate has just been closed.
That's terrible.
The Real Estate Council of Ontario does audits on real estate brokers' trust accounts to make sure everything is in order. And apparently they did an audit on iPro's trust account and found a shortfall of $10 million, which recently has been adjusted just to $8 million. But basically, there's $8 million missing in their trust account, which says that somebody's been dipping in to use that money for other things. And subsequently, the Real Estate Council of Ontario is shutting iPro down as of tomorrow, August 19th.
Shut the front door.
I believe they have approximately 2,400 agents. So if you're watching this video and you have an agent or a deal with an iPro agent, reach out to them to find out what's happening with that deal. Incidentally, there is insurance in place when there's this type of fraudulent activity. I believe the maximum coverage payout is about $4 million, so it would only be about 50% of the money that's missing, but I don't have the inside track here. Once again, if you're working with an iPro agent, reach out and get an answer. That about does it for the news up to this point, and we are now going to get to the inventory story. And when we come back from the inventory story, I'm going to share with you the information I received from, well, it was only just over 100 respondents to the 5-question survey that I put out about a month ago, asking people, what's your take on the real estate market here in Toronto and Southwestern Ontario? So, inventory story. When we come back, we'll get a look at those answers. So, the survey, question number 1 was, how confident do you feel about the Toronto real estate market over the next 12 months? And there were 5 choices. Very confident, somewhat confident, neutral, somewhat concerned, very concerned. Overwhelming response was neutral. I think people can see that the sky's not falling and there's no need for FOMO. If they've been watching my channel, that's the message I've been delivering. But I think you can pretty much tell by, what's happening in the economy right now that there's not a whole lot of upward pressure on real estate prices. There's possibility that they may come down a little bit further, but the sky is not falling. And clearly the respondents to the survey have felt that same way as well. Question number 2. Do you think now is a good time to buy, sell, or wait when it comes to real estate? Well, overwhelming response, buy. Not that everybody's looking to buy a property right now, but I think most people are aware of the fact that the market has shifted dramatically over the last couple of years. And if you're a buyer, you're never likely to hit the bottom of the market, and you'll never likely sell at the top of the market. But if you're looking for a safe time to penetrate the market because you need a roof over your head, now is probably a very good time. Question number 3, how much have rising interest rates and inflation impacted your real estate decisions? A great deal, somewhat, not much, or not at all? Well, I guess you have to be in the mindset of doing a transaction, buying or selling. Not everybody who responded did. So the overwhelming answer here was not much. And I don't know whether or not that's a real reflection of what's taking place in the market, because most of my clients are settled in property right now or have been in the real estate market for some time.
That's not very helpful.
I think people who are looking to buy are realizing that there could be a little bit of a pull down in the policy rate from the Bank of Canada, which could signal more affordable mortgaging, but the bond markets are still not really behaving with any degree of consistency. Long story short, not a great answer to, not great clarity to that question. Question number 4, how do you feel about the long-term value of owning property in Toronto on a scale of 1 to 10? The number that popped up most frequently from just over 100 respondents was 8. So people still know that real estate and this region of the country is still a good place to have a home, especially if you're calling it a roof over your head, meaning the investors aren't here, and there wasn't a lot of investors responding to this survey. Final question, question number 5. Which of the following global or local issues concerns you the most when thinking about the economy and real estate? Rising interest rates and inflation, cost of living, I guess that's sort of the same thing, political instability, housing affordability, global economic uncertainty, climate-related risk, or others, please specify. Well, the overwhelming answer here was political instability. And listen, you can't get away from it, whether it's mainstream media or social media, these tariff conversations and how they're affecting businesses here in the country, the auto industry, and just anybody who has a business and is trying to plan for the future. It's so very difficult not knowing how the tariffs are going to impact you and exactly how much the tariffs are going to be. So that's obviously permeated its way through the population and clearly to the respondents of this survey. So political instability, not knowing what's happening moving forward. I'm not sure that it was a incredibly enlightening amount of feedback from that survey, and I think part of it was the time that I sent it out, but nonetheless, those are the answers, and that pretty much does it for this episode. This was a long one. So, until the next episode, this is Mike Brown with RE/MAX, uncovering the real estate of real estate here in the GTA and Southwestern Ontario.